All you're going to do like carnival to banker boy. This thing, we have 2 more weeks. Listen, you know how you go feel when you reach Lent and you realize you ain't sin at all before Ash Wednesday and you still have to go and get ashes. Welcome to what episode is this? 7? 7 on my mind. Welcome to episode 35 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in and welcome to all the new listeners. Remember, we're available on or everywhere podcasts available. For people who are abroad, Spotify seems to be your choice. Locally, subscribe. Local people don't subscribe. I getting to realize that I just had to keep sending out this thing and hoping people listen every week because people don't subscribe. People call me and tell me, hey, the podcast late. You ain't send no link. Well, subscribe. It's on YouTube, it's on Apple, it's on Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio, Audible. It's pretty much everywhere. I would appreciate if you subscribe, particularly on YouTube. Even for you who subscribe to the podcast already, run over to YouTube for me and subscribe and hit the notification button and all them nice things, right? So let me start this week by paying respect. We lost a great one this week and the whole nation had to stop for a minute last week, Thursday the 28th. First thing come up in the morning. It's like early morning, bright and early. We found out that Sandra Devine, Singing Sandra, passed away. Really unexpected. I don't know if people knew she was sick or anything like that. I hadn't heard. Oh, I think she did an interview on Gael recently. I think it would have been within COVID times, but really a shock. So rest in peace to Singing Sandra. Condolences to her family and her loved ones. And I feel like all of us are her family and her loved ones. And I saw pretty quickly the artists doing their tributes on Instagram. And it's a testament to how you live. When you look at how somebody live, you see it when they are when they pass away and the respect start to pay. Because with her, it was a different level of respect, not just as a great artist or one of the strongest in the art form, but as a mentor and as a mother. So much people called her. So male and female artists, all of them came out and say how impactful she was on their career. And it's amazing, And go back to if you love Singing Sandra, go back and listen to episode 5. If you remember when they had these sort of riots and stuff in Trinidad, I was using one of her biggest calypsos and one of the best written calypsos I ever hear to kind of break down that whole thing, what was happening with our own version of the Black Lives Matter movement down here. So check that out. But sad is we losing. I mean, with time, we will lose all our icons when you think about it. And it's how we treat them and how we pay them our respect or give them the flowers while they're here that will matter the most. When you look at her accomplishments, I was going back listening to some of her performances. Even before I get into the accomplishments, what's the thing I remember most about her? Like seeing her in the tent or even watching YouTube videos with her. She had a stage presence that was different from any other artist. Now, I ain't taking nothing away from nobody else, right? But you see most artists, soca, calypso, everywhere, when they're performing, you see them turning around to the band, you tell the band low, hold up, a little bit. You see a lot of that in soca and thing today. Go and check out Singing Sandra perform. When she get her mic in her hand, she's walked to the end of that stage and her stage presence is phenomenal. The way she command her audience. And I was looking at a video of her this week where she came out. It looked like it wasn't a very big crowd. Either the crowd wasn't too big or the rain was falling and people went further under shelter or something. You couldn't see the whole crowd. But she came out and she did I think it was Die With My Dignity. And from the time she walk out on the stage, she say, I'm coming down there, I want to go down there. Because the crowd was so far. I don't know if she wasn't feeling the vibe or something. And boy, that woman went out in the rain. And rain is, you're seeing rain pouring, heavy rain had to be for you to catch it on camera like that. And she was in the middle of the people. A man with an umbrella, people trying to shelter her. And boy, to hear her deliver that song. And if you was ever on a stage, you know how hard that is. Your monitors behind you now. I mean, and still, even in that moment, she ain't looking back to find no band, to see what people playing, to tell nobody low so she could deliver no lyrics. And her lyrics in that song in particular, and most of her songs, she was very, very lyrical. So you had to deliver. There's not a song that you could make too much a mistake with lines and things. You had to deliver the song. So, I mean, when you have somebody with stage presence like that, and then you have so many soca artists now who saying that, she was always open and always willing to help and give advice, and almost all of them have pictures with her for their profile backstage in different places. So it shows how relevant she is, how much she's a contributor to Calypso music. I think Rose was the first woman to win Calypso Monarch, but Sandra would have won it twice. And the first time she won it would have been with Voices in the Ghetto and a song by the name of Healing for the Nation, or Song of Healing. It was a big song too. The Voices from the Ghetto would have been hard to top, right? So a song for healing might be forgotten, but go back and check for Song for Healing, Singing Sandra. Check for it in the Calypso Monarch and watch her presence in that song. People running behind her. She have a whole skit going on, and I don't know how she able to maintain her focus and to deliver like that with so much happening. But salute to her. And as I say, legends never die. Singing Sandra, walk good, live on, watch over us. You know what I mean? In this year where we had no carnival, and plenty people who would have been in your art form and who trying to do what you do and who trying to walk in your footsteps. This year will be a rough year for them. So look over them. And I wanna just go through with respect to her. Bear with me, right? I want to, because I do a full breakdown on Voices in the Ghetto. But you see the song they call Die With My Dignity? Stacey's tell me I say this all the time, right? But it's one of the greatest calypso ever written. So in dedication to her, we take a lyric breakdown. Now at some point, I'll make a top 10 list of the opening lines in calypso and some of the greatest opening lines I ever hear. But this up there with the best of them. She gets straight to the point. Taking this. Pam 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 padam pam padam pam padam padam pam padam 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 pam padam pam padam pam 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 padam pam padam pam pam padam pam padam. That and all sweet. That by itself done sweet already. But what she say? You want to help to mind your family. You want to help your man financially. But nowadays it's really very hard to get a job as a girl in Trinidad. You're looking out to find something to do. You meet a boss man who promised to help you. But when the man lay down the condition, it's nothing else but humiliation. They want to see your whole anatomy. They want to see where your doctor never see. They want to do what your husband never do. Still you ain't sure if these camps will hire you. But if it's all this humiliation to get a job these days as a woman, brother, let it keep their money. I will keep my honey and die with my dignity. That first verse by itself, right? The first verse by itself, it's done. It's stinging. Now keep in mind this is the mid-1980s. So think of what it would be like for a woman to come out with a song like this where from the first verse, if you ask me, she on the attack because she let it be known was the issue Trinidad facing. Now, as I always say on this podcast, it's like in Trinidad, the more things change, the more remain the same. You think about it. Every calypso I ever break down or sing on this podcast from back in the day, it's still so relevant to what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago right now. Yeah, woman things hard, that song is just like now. Your family, you know what I mean? You start working, and them days it will be more housewives and homemakers than it have now, right? You're looking to get a job, and mankind wants to take advantage. And that was a theme running through her career because she sing or speak up for women through her whole career. Here's the second verse, right? Some of them done pack up already, yet they sit down waiting like my pee. You should get an award for playing my pee in a song, yeah? I just say it. Some of them done pack up already, yet they sit down waiting like my pee, using the power, the cash and position, waiting to abuse and exploit any woman. To get the work you had to go to bed with he, become his slave, second wife and deputy. And as a next woman come down the line, he start to tell you ain't good, you can't whine. They want to see you in some fancy pose. They want to see how you just look without your clothes. They want you cock up like a bloody acrobat. The wife at home they can't ask she to do that. So before I had to lick down somebody, or cause and make the police come for me, brother, they go keep their money, I go keep my honey and die with my dignity. Boy, you know, it's another word wasted in the verse. relevant up to today. It's the same things. It's the same issues. We go back to episode 5 and listen to it again with voices and you get. So it's the same thing I was saying about that song is about this song. Think about women in the working world. It's and beyond the lyrics in the song, spend a little time going through YouTube and check it. Just listen to Singing Sandra, watch her perform, and watch the way she used to perform this song with boy and she put her whole self into the performance and her passion and that voice. It's stinging. You can't ignore it. So when we're looking at the movement and the kind of I don't want to say women's liberation. I mean, I know there's a big movement, but the change in the way women treated in Trinidad and Tobago today, a lot of it could be attributed to her. And a way, just listen back to them 2 verses and listen to the next 2 verses to come. And when I listen to this song, I always thinking about it in the context of a woman in the working world. When you listen to this song again, don't listen to my bad singing. Huh? When you listen to this song again in a proper way, listen to it with the woman in the entertainment industry in mind. Listen to it as a woman who in calypso, or a woman who in dancehall, or a woman who rapping. Or, look at a woman who in the entertainment industry as the job she trying to get, right? Hear the next verse. Looking for work, you might bounce up a fellow. You find you looking quite handsome and macho. You tell yourself you want to work with he, so you decide to try a ratchet fee. But when you're done, it's then you get to know he wife leave he and gone long time ago. With all the cash he have, he's a failure. The man ain't nothing but a blinking sukuya. They want to feel up your navel and your breast. They want to see if you're a loader on your chest. The things they want to do you with their hand, like they searching to find the promised land. I am a woman who don't make any skylark. Before I slap them on the die of heart attack. Brother, let they keep their money. I go keep my honey and die with my dignity. Think of it like her. Think of a woman trying to break into the soca world and see if them complaints make some sense. Like I always used to think of this song as in the office, as an office boy, you know what I mean? But when you think of it in her line of work, is a big difference. Say the last verse. It's have a lot of women just like me who might be not too well off financially. You need a job and you really need it bad. A man decide to help, you must be glad. But if you value yourself as a woman, you will demand respect from the vagabonds. Stand up to them and let them know the truth. It's what you want, you ain't no blinking prostitute. You have a mole on your back they want to see. They want to see if you have a mark on your belly. They want to know how much man you take before, and if you're strong enough to take any more. I have my pride and I have my ambition. I want to hold my head up high as a woman. So brother, they could keep their money, I go keep my honey and die with my dignity. Fed up say it right, but I have to say it again. One of the greatest calypso ever written. One of the greatest calypso, and not just written, one of the greatest calypso ever delivered. Go to any YouTube performance and watch the way she delivered that song. And you'll see the respect that artist showing for her and why. And I want you to check out something, I will put it on I wonder if I could create a playlist on YouTube for people to check out, boy. I go in and check my YouTube and I will put it on a playlist named Singing Sandra. Some of my favorite performances, but I want you to check the first one. Because the first one I will put up is a performance I found, and I just see this for the first time this week, really, just researching this episode. Is a performance in St. Croix with Singing Sandra and Sparrow. And you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of command of the stage, because of course Sparrow is one of the greatest to ever do it. But when you see her deliver that song and she call out Sparrow in the end, and boy, she and Sparrow do a verse for verse on that song. Boy, it was sweet. If you're a real fan of Calypso, that going to put tears in the eye. It will make your pause raise. So check out my YouTube page. I'll put up the playlist and I will put that one as the first one. But I'll include some of my favorite performances. Also with some songs that might not have been her most popular. But again, the way she delivers it and the way... Like I post a picture with her with a lot of people post it with a red dress and head tie. And a blade like a sword in her. That performance in Skinner Park was something else. I'll post all of them. And... one of the other things that came out a lot with her performances was her spirituality. She was strong in the Baptist faith, spiritual Baptist, and she followed Orisha teachings. I mean, when they call her mother, it was something. So I guess when I call in stage presence, is her overall presence. So again, rest in peace, Singing Sandra, a great loss to the country, and let's continue with those who. I mean, bubble wrap, all legends, please, because 2020 and 2021 it happening, but it's important. It shows us how important it is to give these people their flowers while they're here. She's not just a legend, she's a Calypso monarch. She's the last person to win the Calypso monarch in the last century. That's something to mark, you know what I mean? The last one, that says something. And the only woman up to today who win too. Salute to all the other women who won as well. I know Rose won the first one, Denise Plummer would have won already, Terry Lyons won, Karen Ashe. So salute to all the women who won. And I can't say it enough. Rest in peace to Singing Sandra. It rock all of us. Now, as we on Dimanche Gras, I couldn't figure out why Gypsy and them couldn't figure out how to do a Dimanche Gras, but only they figure it out. So salute to the squad, Colin Lucas, Gypsy, everybody in the NCC. Salute to Ole. Ole at least talking about a virtual carnival. Now, in my mind, Ole should have started planning this thing many months later, no carnival. They could have put things in place then. But better late than never. What's saying to use? I don't know what saying to use to cover this. But I see in Loop TT, it said, where is it? The National Carnival Commission will be staging a virtual Dimanche Gras show. Colin Lucas, CEO of the NCC, told Loop News that while there were no details on the actual production, which will be done by Davlin Thomas, the show will be called The Carnival World Beyond Virtual. The show will be streamed via a new website, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival World, which is currently in the... Hold on, wait. Let me read that again because I probably read that wrong. I don't see so well enough. The show will be streamed via a new website, the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival World, which is currently in development. Now, I don't know about Zoli. Every week I come and talk about the what fets was supposed to be this weekend. Coincidentally, this weekend going there would be, I saw Bacchanal Road memories coming up. I started to feel sick. I saw like lime. But regardless, those fets, the dates change, right? All the events I talk about thus far, the dates usually change according to when Carnival is, right? But Panorama do change, and Panorama would be this weekend gone here. Now, if you're Pan Semis, right? Pan Semis would be Sunday gone. Now, Pan Semis, usually you have one more weekend after Pan Semis. And then the following weekend is when all the foreigners come up and they jack up all the fed prices and things. Salute to all the foreigners who's come with all the $7 to $7 or $10 to $1 and pay once it allowed money for tickets and things. And we can't get no tickets down here. But all right, so let's sell all the tickets already in New York and then we can't get no tickets. All right, cool. All they would be flying in next week, late or early, according to where your plane ticket looking. And that weekend would be the weekend of the Dimanche Gras, right? Pan would have been on, let me get the dates, right? This weekend would have been the weekend coming, 6th and 7th, would have been fets like Carrie people would have different. Fatima would have been this weekend too. And the next weekend is Pan Finals and Dimanche Gras. So what the NCC trying to tell me is that the website that going and carry this Dimanche Gras 2 weeks from now is under development. I'm going to look for it, I'm going to look for this website and see where it's saying. Let me see if anything up yet. Because we 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks away from this virtual Dimanche Gras. They said the website name is Trinidad and Tobago Carnival World. Let me see if I could find this here. Trinidad and Tobago Carnival World. If it must come up on Google, right? If they're anywhere near launch or anything like that, it should come up on Google, right? Nothing. Heavy Wikipedia. NCC talking about the history of Carnival. NCC have it on their site too to launch the Trinidad and Tobago. Let me see. If NCC have it on the website, then it must have a link to the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival World. St. Peter's museum. Nothing. No link. No link to Trinidad Carnival. Oh, at the bottom of NCC page, all it says here is tntcarnivalworld.com coming soon. Stay tuned. So I suppose it's a surprise. It might be launched the same night as the Dimanche Gras. That might be a good idea. because websites don't crash and nothing don't go wrong with websites and things. I'm trying to find it in the chat. While I'm talking to you, I'm searching it here. TNTCarnivalWorld.com. I wonder I should go on GoDaddy and see who owns this. Nah. All right, there's something. Nice. All right, we have action. TNT Carnival World, well, it have a flyer saying coming soon. That is a good sign. 2 sponsors look like Digicel and NP. And you could sign in. So please log in to access this website. Only wait now. Hold on. No. Wait. The thing saying sign in or please log in. I'm not seeing anywhere that says like sign up for a new account or anything. When I hit login, that working. It's saying username empty and saying when I hit forget password, all that working. I hope they're not coming to ask people to pay $10 for this thing. And this looking like one of them sites where you have to pay and they will send you a username and password. They have nowhere here a seeing that saying create a username and password. Gypsy, me and you, we be rocky already. I hope somebody, please. If all you know Gypsy and Colin Lucas, save them from themselves. Call them now and tell them forget that idea of charging people to do this. Now, what I was thinking too is that the artists now, if I was going up for the Dimanche Gras, I feel I would have write my song already and get my song produced and all them things. I wonder how much Calypsonians putting out music now to put together the Dimanche Gras that didn't exist before and was announced on them announcing the Dimanche Gras 3 weeks out at best. I giving them plenty time by saying 3 weeks. So it means that artists now had to run and make up their calypso. I'm not sure if it have well, the extempo men go do good. They could do it last minute. So that is one crowd who might benefit from this. I wonder if the Dimanche Gras also includes like a king and queen costume. I don't know what kind of king and queen. Maybe they could get Borokits to pose a mud king because I don't know what kind of king and queen they could make in 2 weeks. Or maybe they bring out some old queen and some old king. Like I was watching the Crown with them old ass king and queen they had there. Maybe they'll go bring out some old queen and some old king and see if they could do a little showdown with that if men still have their costume. Maybe if you had a museum, it would have a place for all that. But I as always be at a loss for words when I'm trying to talk about these folks. Because why couldn't, between the Minister of Culture we talked about last week, Gypsy, Colin Lucas, how come we now hustling to do this, boy? You know what gonna be that website? I hesitating because I don't want to say nothing bad about the thing. But when you go and launch a website a week out from an event like that where people are going to log on to that all around the world, I hope they're doing proper testing because when plenty of people go on that site, I don't want to put no bad things out there and say the site will crash, right? I'm trying my best to stay positive. A matter of fact, I'm coming out for this topic. NCC is having a Dimanche Gras and we're grateful that they're putting together something. So I look forward to Carnival Sunday night when we have a virtual Dimanche Gras. And I hope that a king and queen of Carnival will be crowned, and I hope that we will have a monarch to look over the festivities and be the king or queen of the festivities. I'm leaving it at that. We go revisit Carnival Tuesday, right? In other pressing news, I see the Minister of Education say children, I think they said Form 4 and 5, those who preparing for exams, as well as so from Form 4 to Form 6. Let me read from the Newsday here. There's Khalifa Sarah Klein. Students in Form 4 to Form 6 will return to school as part of a hybrid education system starting on February 8th. The hybrid model means online classes will continue, but schools will be physically open for those who are doing practical lessons, SBAs and all that. Now, when this podcast first started, I really used to complain about this homeschool or online schooling and things. It used to frustrate me having to work a schedule around this boy and all that, right? But now, you see, I can't please Trinidadian at all. Because a man come and complain about it. And now that they open back, I find school should never open back. If you listen to all episodes, I'm sorry for all the rant and rave. Man, don't like change, Changes be the problem. My schedule done built around Zachary school thing already. I don't want them trying to go back to school because now I had to drive from Shogunas to South early in the morning to drop the... Oh, no, he's not affected by this. My son is in standard, whatever it is. But it seems as though they're making moves to get school back on train, and they say a phased reopening and some hybrid approach with some days home and days in school. COVID or no COVID, vaccine or no vaccine, I find we should leave them children home. Yes, I know you have concerns about our working lives and the children and things, but also have concerns about school traffic and having to go through all that traffic to drop them off, and then having to go through all that traffic again to pick them up. Or remember now, you had to pay a driver to start back picking them up and dropping them off and all them things. I don't know if I could adjust. You know, I guess I too rigid. Me a bill for change. We done get accustomed to this new normal. Let it be the new normal going forward. Like, I know they have an issue with children and how they're growing up, like how they'll socialize and those things. So maybe if they do 1 day a week, you know what I mean? Just do a day where they could go and do, because I find like PE is a depressing thing to watch them doing these little PE moves and doing little jumping jacks in the uniform in front of the computer. That can't work. But it would be nice to see them do it once a week, like have it staggered or something, where different groups going on different days, maybe from different forms or whatever it might be, or standards in this case, and let them interact and play games, because PE, you know, the little team sports and those types of things, would be nice to see them do that, or just be able to chill and line with one another, do an actual class party in person, and some things that help them interact and get the teacher to see them, let the teachers come out every now and again. So I'm sure the teachers ain't looking forward to going back out in the school and all that. But we starting to gain stride with this online class. Like I was listening on Zachary class with his teacher, and they seem to have a little system running, man. He figured something out. He figured something out to keep them boys interactive enough, engaged enough, and they seem to be learning, even though I found that initially, well, he had always liked the idea of not having to go to school, because this man hates school. Go to make sheep. He ain't really trying to go down that highway and do none of that neither. And the fact that when he finished school, he could start to play one time or go on YouTube, he have a little schedule for after school, that seemed to be working for him. But I beg him, please, only don't send his trend back out to school. Don't send his trend back out to school and we had to go back to this. Let me figure out something different. Who they know? Garcia? Gatsby Dolly? Whoever is the minister. I eager to hear what the plan is, because I think they said that the vaccine is here. Healthcare workers getting the vaccine in Trinidad and Tobago first. That makes sense. After that is the elderly. And I'm not sure if they usually vaccinate children or what was the situation. But I see in where we heading. I see in the end of this year, I see in September being a mad rush to go and get this and that and school uniform. And you just made buy no school uniform for Zachary in life again. You know, that online he got to fit in that shirt. He wearing them these same clothes until he in standard 5. Because pants optional, yeah, online, just stay seated. And I don't care how the shirt fits. It's I know boys to tease you, but how your shirt looking and all them kind of thing, them can't really see you too good in your Zoom thing. I go and every year I could just take off one button off that shirt. You could get how fat, you could get how small. One shirt. And I ain't washing that shirt ever. That shirt washing annually. So if I send him back to school with this man going to be throwing juice on his shirt and throwing down himself, and then I had to get a call now when I in a meeting to say he think and he fall down and get some kind of white man, I had to come and pick him up. Me so sure ready to go back to them days now. I would love to hear what you feel. Because I see man who complain about this the most, but please, let me figure out something where them children don't have to go back out. Now talking about children, they have a school side named Soca Warriors who went and play what seemed to be big men in Florida and collect 7. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is it was lined up perfectly to be 7-1 where the exchange rate is, but the man threw away the penalty and all. He didn't even make it 7-1. Salute Alvin Jones. Alvin Jones is a great one. But boy, you know, that side, nothing about that side didn't look good. Nothing. From the kickoff. Well, forget the kickoff. From the dressing room, because that uniform, like I say on Facebook, they wear a rugby uniform and they get a rugby score. Who designed that uniform? Last couple of weeks, Shaka make a little thing and talk about Joe Public thief the uniform. So like they went and buy uniform on no side in the world don't want a thief at all. It's one of the worst uniform. It looked like a long time referee running sideways. You remember the referee used to wear them stripes? Who make that uniform? Why the uniform? I never like a Trinidad side who don't play in red neither. So all they come with this stripe thing. All these stripes black. I mean, that's I know that you're in Trinidad one little red stripe. Well, a red stripe would make me Jamaican. But listen, we started to look bad from the time men put on their kit. That team looked like lal, nothing, no kind of plan. No, they said that Fenwick had a team training for like 6 months. Well, I don't know how that could be true because I keep hearing them saying that on WESN. Salute to WESN for bringing the game first things first. I was glad to. Anytime Soca Warriors play, I watching it. Like Stacey always getting kicked. She says, torture myself. I go torture myself. I like my Soca Warriors. I'm watching them anytime. But I remember they saying that there's no training or no team sports and that kind of thing. And team sports ain't started back 6 months ago. There was a time where they said the national teams could train. But if my memory serves me right, that would be October, November. Giving them plenty leeway by saying October. It was probably in November. So that wasn't 6 months ago. But I don't know. They say Fenwick had this team together for 6 months. That song in real suspect. But a lot of the players who he had there seem to be not a part of this camp that he had for these 6 months. I don't know. But them men didn't string 2 or 3 passes together for a whole game. Within minutes, we get the first goal. I don't know if to call it defensive error, whole team error. They're just not looking. I feel sorry for Fonset too, Adrian Fonset. He is a decent keeper. Although his positioning last night was iffy at best, he come in and stop in, and there are 2 goals. And you can't blame him for much because the defense in front of him is lal. The defense is nothing. But the first goal, he start coming out and hesitate and stop in no man's land and get a goal. Even though he shouldn't be put in that position, his position in real suspect. And then they had a goal, I can't remember if it's goal number 13 or 14. They really just find him way off the line when the ball was out the box. I don't know what he was doing quite there, and a man just spot him and slap home. It's like, I don't know, boy, that side. And even, let me say, we now come off a situation where we was halfway banned with FIFA and we had an administration and they change hands. Trinidad administration, Trinidad football and the admin always have issues. We never get away from that. We never grew past that. It always was that way. But I don't think we ever looked this bad, boy. It looked like these men now meet one another. Like, when you, I was talking about this last week when you're sweating with people and things. I personally is try my best, and I only sweating with people who I know. Because you had to know how lazy I is in sweat to tolerate me on a field. If I just pull up in different places and ask for a sweat, better I play just in front of the last man because my eyesight ain't too good. I can't play last because that's going to be a real goal. If I play just in front of the last man, I will look like if I could play a little bit. But other than that, at some point, I going up front and me coming back, and not coming back. So, I be very selective about who I go and sweat with. And if a man, I know a fella and he say, come draw and sweat, I say, boy, you tell them fellas what you seen. Don't have nobody tackling me hard. I not tackling nobody. And find me. But I don't play national football. I just sweat right over here. So I don't know how men showing up for this sweat. Or not sweat, international friendly. Them men looking just like me. One man who playing left back. That man leg thick. He just eating, he's sweetening corn soup with condensed milk and eating that because I never see a footballer. This man is big. This man heavy. I'm watching this on TV and when he run, you're hearing it like boom, boom, boom. I say, but what? Where they find he? How he so fat? You forget you's a professional. Like I hear Leonson Lewis played best. They interviewed Leonson Lewis, and after everybody, Leonson Lewis was choosing the kindest words. Because Andre Albertis was saying the team ain't good. Kenwin Jones, let me repeat, Kenwin Jones was saying how lazy men looking and more slow. Let me just make this clear. Kenwin Jones was one of the people who was doing the analysis or coverage with Andre Albertis and Jason Williams. And Kenwin Theophilus Jones is saying how slow men moving, boy, and how lazy men playing. I don't know, Trinidad really a short memory. When I say the thing, and I know they're going back to Kenwin, I know Kenwin had to say something about the match. But I tell myself, please, just let Kenwin say, the right thing to say was, the team ain't really gel. The coach didn't have much time with the team. He had a camp running for a little while, but he only had about 2 days with that team before they travel out. Say, they're just looking at the players. It's not an important game. It's an exhibition game. We're looking to see who looking how for the Gold Cup. Boy, Kenwin come on and say nothing but the team wasn't good. Meant about the fitness and who don't want to run. I thinking, Kenwin. This is interesting to hear Kenwin say that. But anyhow, Leonson Lewis played best. Where he was talking about just those same things. He said the team lack of preparation. He said, you need to get the boys time together. He was also saying that the US team, they've been playing together from a very young age and they're accustomed staying together in a camp in Florida. And that was the team they select. Like a lot of the bigger names like Pulisic and thing wasn't there. This is a team that's coming up. That's is a crop of players that they've been working on. So they're accustomed playing together. So when they meet a schoolboy side like Soca Warriors, we go in and get licks. It is one of the few times I have ever started like going into a Soca Warriors game where I had no hope of them winning. Usually, as the man saying, we have a chance. We could still get them a fight. And in this one, I was like, listen, just don't get double figures and it's a great result. So I was like, 7 in bad. 4 in the first half, 3 in the second half. That's an improvement. Fenwick himself was looking like he didn't find things to talk about. The first thing I would say is, we was improving as the game go along. We get 4 in the first half, we only get 3 in the second half. We looking better. But what Leonson say, other than, I want to say like covering for them, he was basically saying that, this is not something to make a judgment on. But he said, if you're a professional footballer, your fitness is your responsibility. And if you know Leonson Lewis in football or now, like post-football, Leonson Lewis still remain a very, very fit guy. Leonson Lewis and no belly hanging over and things like myself. He demand fit up to today. And I wonder how old he is, but if he was on Soca War, if he was on Strike Squad in 89, I'm going to do some of my kind of maths, right? And let me say he was mid-20s, 25. If he was 25 in 1990, I mean, in 2000, he is 35. In 2010, he is 45. Yes, let's say somewhere between 55, 60, somewhere there. The man looking real good. The man looking ridiculously fit. He's not a professional footballer again, I'm sure. But I think if he run out there, he'd look better than Condensed Milk Man on the ball. And you know what I mean? The running off the ball, like that kind of heaviness. When Condensed Milk Man make one step, there's a wrap. He not making that next step. Somebody done pass him long time. I don't know if he good or not because he was just too fat, too heavy to be good. So I understand what Leonson Lewis saying. If you're a footballer, like you're fit, you had to maintain. You ain't going to be match fit if you ain't playing often. But oh God, like put on the cookies. What's going on with you? Like you forget this is your career, this is your life. And you were saying, boy, it don't matter if it's a pandemic, it's World War II. It could be what? You had to stay fit enough for whenever thing come around, you could get a game because I ain't think no coach taking him seriously or watching him. And listen, I saying Condensed Milk Man, but it had about 3 or 4 of them who was, they blowing like Ace Cannon, remember Ace Cannon? Google Ace Cannon. They blowing just like Ace Cannon. And USA take full advantage of that. They had the ball for most of the game and we just didn't look up to speed. Poor Alvin Jones. One of the brightest lights in the team. And that says something to her. When Alvin Jones taking your penalties, who's our defender, it's saying something about the setup of your team. But having said all that, it is my opinion, I've said it many times before, that Terry Fenwick should not be the coach of the national team. He should not even be allowed in this country. He should have been deported and sent back where he came from. Because if I was a football coach, and I went in the lowest league in England, where he live in, where he come from. Is England he from? And I coaching a team. And the opposing team striker score. And the man go to run to the stands to celebrate. And he passed between the 2 benches. And I put up my elbow and elbowed that man in his face. And he hit the ground. There's a man who now score against me and the man go and celebrate. In any football, that player who run off with a guy yellow card, running off the field and jumping up by the stands and thing, it have thing in place for that already. But you so arrogant and so we call ignorant and stupid that the man run past you and you elbow that man to the ground. That is assault in any country, anywhere in the world. That is physical. So he should have been arrested and charged and made to face the court for that. And he should have been banned from he gets small ban and say, for Terry Fenwick to come back and be the coach of the national team, we deserve to get 7 men every single game we play. And I'm watching all of them because you see Soca Warriors, they're my side. It don't matter to me how much they get, I going back the next game. If USA come to play them tomorrow, I ride it by condensed milk taking in the game. But Terry Fenwick have no right to be in this country, far less to be. All you know, it crawled my blood to see Terry Fenwick had to come and explain what went wrong in the game and how he should never talk on behalf of Trinidad. I used to get real annoyed when he was saying no, bad talking. No, all you know is had trouble with this man name, right? It's either Kevin Hart, Steve Matt, Calder Hart, one of them. But he was the best coach we had in a while. And I used to hear Fenwick picking at every little thing that happened. Fenwick was our analyst, and Fenwick would have been sitting down right with Kenwin and them and Andrea Albertis, talking about what the team should do and how it's atrocious and is this and listen, I used to hate to hear him talk about them thing like, don't talk about Trinidad team. So now to hear him at the point where he's a national coach and have the ability to say all this about what was wrong and what was right and nothing wasn't good about the game, nothing ain't good about you. You should go back where you come from. I don't know who idea this was to put Terry Fenwick. I don't know if other people agree with this or no, because nobody seemed to be talking about this. Nobody seemed to be bothered by it, but I real bothered by it. We need to figure out a way. I rather lost all the games with no. I rather they bring back we had some madman coach Trinidad. Salute Rene Simoes, right? Because when he was Jamaica coach, he really do a good and carried up the World Cup and thing. But when he come here, he was a madman. And then a man named Vranis, he was mad. But the maddest of the mad was a man named Saint Fleet. I wonder if people can remember Saint Fleet. Saint Fleet is a man who they bring here. And if I'm not mistaken, Saint Fleet still had a work in Mozambique or one of them countries. He had to work somewhere in Africa and take up the work in Trinidad and never even resign over. So, certified madman. They say he was working for about $1,500 a fortnight. Like if TTFA they wasn't making no sort of money at the time, so they just bring him in to hold on. I wonder if it's Saint Fleet who was the coach when we beat USA, boy. That would be real embarrassing, you know. Nah, I think it was Dennis Lawrence. By that time, they had done fire Saint Fleet already. And we knocked these men out of the World Cup, so at the end of the day, salute to Soca Warriors, minus Fenwick. And I don't care how much I die hard. I die hard with that side. Whatever they do, I deal with it, and it really don't matter. Fat man, all you need to do what I need to do. Go on a diet, do some exercise, get weight up, get a little breathing, you know what I mean? Do some men on that side, like they need a little Pilates and yoga too, like men stretching for ball. It was bad. It's not much great things to take away from the game, but hopefully by the time the Gold Cup come, we have a side that looking tight and fit and ready to go. And I mean, the Gold Cup is in March and in February. But these professional athletes, all they will get together and pull together, and hopefully by then we competitive. And hopefully by then Fenwick arrogant self is out of here. And how you could talk about arrogance without talking about our Minister of National Security, Stuart Arrogance Young. Listen, I don't know what's the scene like. I don't know what it feels like to be in power and to be in charge of everything in the country. And I had to imagine that if I end up in charge of everything in the country, and my head going to swell real big. As a matter of fact, my head swell big and me in charge of nothing. So I can't imagine what it is like to feel the power of being in charge of the army or the police or whoever you're in charge of. But is there a letter that was written here, or I don't know what to call this thing. They say it's a response to Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bissessar. Now, Kamla Prasad Bissessar and them themselves start a no confidence motion against Stuart Young, if you're not up to date on anything. And they were trying to say he incompetent and he does. I mean, there's a lot. Protests of the parliament, the full works. UNC have a kind of a rotation that's going on. And this is the cycle. This is part of the cycle they're in, where they get people to come outside, but they get well-spoken people to come outside. Remember the time they went outside the parliament, and when the reporters, I find, innocently asked them questions about, hey, what are you doing here? The reporters didn't seem to want to put them in place or nothing, but they put themselves in place because they didn't know what was the issue. They didn't know what was the bill they were trying to talk about. But boy, here now, they make sure and tell people, hey, all you come up and all you protest and thing, we gain all the jersey, but only let he and he talk. And they find the most articulate people to come up and talk. So they was good on that front outside the parliament. And they look real strong inside the parliament too. Can Fasad Bissessar come out swinging? She let me know that we fed up with this. People don't know when they could come. She was on top. She was on top again. Only to end up being absent by the time the vote. Boy, it's an odd thing when you think of politicians in this country. Is she was tired. She right out. She couldn't take no more hits, so she bust out. But Stuart Young, of course. So the motion of no confidence didn't really go nowhere. I didn't expect it to go anywhere. This is I generally find that those things are a waste of time. They will never go anywhere. And political parties like the UNC and PNM, they simply use it for their own mileage and as a marketing tool for the party. So that when you find an election coming up, or they need to gain traction, gain media coverage, it just is an effort to stay relevant by any opposition party. Waste of time. But Stuart Young needed to respond to this apparently. So he said, this is his response, right? It is now becoming worrying that the leader of the opposition, Mrs. Kamla Persad Bissessar, may be becoming delusional. I am on record, including in the parliament, saying that I feel sad for Ms. Kamla Persad Bissessar as she continues to struggle for relevance. Now, in my opinion, if I have somebody who struggling for relevance, as Stuart Young say, why would I talk about them? What did I do in? So he went on to talk about Ms. Persad Bissessar misleading the public in terms of Chinese diplomats and also the issue of Blue Waters, where they let in Blue Waters needed some specialized people to come in to see about the plant and they let them in. I'm not sure how the government expect people to feel if people abroad struggling to get home don't know what's the process. But these things can be done seemingly at the request of companies. I mean, and it's important, again, the same thing I was saying about the Prime Minister's daughter and their family. If Blue Waters need people to come in to see that critical, they need to get them in. But just let us know where's the process for bringing people home, like a very clear, outlined process where everybody could follow up and know exactly when they'll come home. And who cares if Blue Waters bringing people or not? That will never be an issue. But even though you say in your opening paragraph that the woman is irrelevant, he went on to say, quoting from his release again from the ministry, I was hoping that after her dire and abysmal failure in front of the country in Parliament yesterday, Mrs. Persad Bissessar would take some time for her personal health and to do some introspection. I am saddened to realize that she has not done so. It truly saddens me to see a former Prime Minister so desperate for attention. Now listen, as a man, I could come here and bad talk politicians every week. I don't like politicians. I find listen, let me not get into that. The thing about this that I don't like is that, number one, if you're saying somebody irrelevant, don't talk about them at all. But you irrelevant too. I don't see much relevance in anything you say or do, or the way you represent yourself. You in the same boat. And the kind of condescending way is like, in this country, every opportunity is to take a dig at somebody else. It's never about governance. It's never about what is best for the country. It's about them worse than we. So you see, them, we bad enough, but them worse. So I in a mess. But she's sick and she this and she that and I'm so sad and she see about her health. And it's like, dude, what's going on with all you? We running a country in a pandemic. What we doing? You talking about relevance and thing. All you know went for election and Watson Duke takes seats from all you let Watson Duke. You know, I see Watson Duke do that time. I never forget this. I see one of the original meetings when Watson Duke was taken over as PSA president. It was heated. I don't know if people remember that. It was real heated. I want to say it was Remy would have been the person who would have been in the battle with them back then. I think I have that right. And I remember in one of the meetings, it gets so heated, like it was borderline physical. And I saw Watson Duke on the news with a glass in his hands. And he put, that was Fat Watson, right? Not Slim Watson. That Watson could have played for Soca Warriors. He put a glass in his hand and he say, "Here, what? I want to embed this glass in your flesh." Only I don't know if people remember them things, but I was like, I say what? And before them days, you can rewind TV and thing. Before I could process it, he said it again. He points at the man. He say, "You, I want to embed this glass in your flesh." This is mad people action. I also remember Watson Duke taking all the money in a bag from, I think it was, he take it from RBC and Park Street and walk across with this PSA money, you know. He withdrew all the money and went over the road, a couple $1 million, I think it was, and went over the road by First Citizens to deposit it. He's this easy man, only losing traction too. This man get traction over all in Tobago. People in Tobago, and listen, the PNM in particular have a way of talking down to the electorate like people dotish. And you know what I mean? So Tobagonian stupid. I post this picture of Watson Duke as I would usually do on the episode artwork, right? And I'm not sure why people think that was Watson Duke profile. I ain't sure. Like a lot of people was under the post saying congrats and great man and all this kind of thing, and other people saying, boy, this is the worst decision. And I thinking, hey, this has nothing to do with this, is just a podcast and all. Please listen. Just listen to the podcast. I really boost and post to get people to listen to this thing. But I don't know where this notion that if we didn't vote for you, we're stupid. I'm not sure where it came from. PNM, I mean, it's not to say that Rowley saying that necessarily, or Kamla Prasad be so. But the supporters, the PNM supporters in particular, they have it bad where they're concerned. So when you see the PNMites on Facebook, everybody who vote for Watson stupid. Instead, all you take time to figure out, well, what could have possibly caused you to vote for somebody like Watson Duke, who's embedded in flesh and swim from Trinidad and Tobago? And for any rational person will see Watson Duke as volatile and irrational. I don't know how he could be a voting option. But if people voting for him, I would probably, if I was his competitor, I would probably say, let me find out from people what is this seeing in him that we not presenting. Because the voter have the choice and the voter could do whatever it is they want with their vote. And if it's 6-6, and Wally had to figure that out, how Wally could be telling people about relevance? Only when an election just the other day, Wally sweep Tobago just the other day and take everything. And then when it comes to THA election, in that short space of time, a man come and hit only 6-all. They do better than the Soca Warriors. Only supposed to PNM supposed to be USA in this scenario. Only have a team that together 100 years, just like that USA team. Only gelling. Only have a young squad. Politician who been there, the oldest politician in parliament is Keith Rowley. Only have the best advantage, the best playing field, everything. And only come and condensed milk and corn soup come and beat Ole up. Them men and them come and get 6 seats versus Ole. And Ole, you want to write a letter talking about irrelevance? It's just to point out probably the same reason why you're losing ground in places like Tobago and Arima is probably the same kind of arrogant attitude. Stop talking down to people. You know better off than me or anybody else. You might be worse off. So relax. Try and understand the electorate. Understand that you're a public servant. You are placed there to serve us. Relax yourself. And go easy and do the people work. And Kamala and them in the same breath, let's stop this no confidence thing. That nobody do have no confidence in none of you. So if you the no confidence motion should go both ways. Because we have no confidence in the people that raise any no confidence motion. So let's give you a break now. Now, before we leave the topic of school children, an article came out this week. I and all was surprised to see after 7 years. No, 2012. How much years ago that was? Were we in 2021? You do the maths. That's 9 years, right? A reading from the Express here. Let me tell you what has happened with Blackman's. Retired principal of Blackman. Listen, maybe you should learn to read properly before you start bad talking politicians and school students. So. Retired principal of Blackman's private school in Maraval, Arlene Blackman, has been ordered by the court to compensate 2 former pupils in the sum of $20,000 each for putting their heads in a toilet bowl and flushing it back in 2012. Now, let me talk about this first before I talk about the reaction. I cannot imagine. Imagine you've gone to pick up your child from school and you're outside the thing, you're waiting in your car, you don't vex because this train taking long to come. And when they reach, the shirt and everything soaking wet. My memory ain't so good, but I remember this story when they had bring this story in 2012. The parent was outside sitting down waiting in the car and the child's shirt was wet. I would just say, well, Zachary, what going on with you? Why your shirt wet so? And his response to me is, well, the principal put our head in the toilet bowl and flush it. My whole life changing in that moment. My whole life changed. I'm not going to do. You should do the rational thing. I don't know who that parent is and what kind of yoga and meditation them is do and what kind of weed them smoking or whatever this keep them so calm. I want a dose of all what them have. Because I don't have that kind of tolerance and discipline and production. I can't do it. I can't imagine being in that situation. Let me just put it that way. But the fact that never get physical with her, or if it did, I don't know. Or the fact that somebody didn't go and floor that woman is surreal to me. But beyond that, to come 9 years down the road, which you know justice is working in this country, if it ever come, it coming far, far, far from now. And that the $20,000 is what a woman had to pay each. Let me look into that $20,000 figure, right? On Blackman's website, the quote per term for a child is $4,000, right? Think of this. If you go to school for a full year, you're going through 3 terms, you will be paying $12,000. That's one student, eh? And if you go 2 more terms, that you're covered for your $20,000. So as a student, if I was paying for my child, if I'm paying for Zachary to go to that school, I spending $12,000 a year. Zachary's staying there for 5 years, that's $60,000. And when you flush his head in the toilet, the court in this country going to take 9 years to give me back $20,000. But hey, sometimes you wonder where you're living in and what is people seeing. Like, I don't know what in a magistrate mind, I don't know what the limitations are and how much you could charge for that. But it's surreal. It's like madness. It's like who was the judge? St. Fleet was the judge. It was like, how are they coming up with these things? How are they coming up with these figures? If these is the maximum figures. I see my boy, if all is follow NCW on Instagram, right? If all don't know NCW one of the funniest comedians in Trinidad. He fast too. Everything that man do, everything that happen online, sorry, he quick with the memes and little videos he's making saying NCW bad. I watch that man Instagram today and I never see that man so vexed. I always used to think to myself, it has some people in this country where they're above getting frustrated by anything that the system doing. But on that man Instagram, that man was so mad about getting a ticket. And he talking about getting a ticket for $1,500 and you're getting 1 and 2 and 3 ticket. Now, I came on here and talk about getting a ticket the other day, right? And I say openly I was wrong. I had to pay the ticket. It didn't make sense. But since I talk about that ticket, the amount of people tell me they get ticket within the last week is crazy. It's clear that the police have a directive now to go and charge people. As NCW was saying, they're looking inside your car to see if you have one mask. If your phone, I tell you, my phone was in my hand. I have it down low too. I ain't even talking on the phone. Something I checking on my phone, but I'm wrong, so I paying my ticket. But the police and them looking down in your car, they everywhere. Which is welcome to me, because I want a state where people obeying the law and everybody peaceful and let we get rid of some of this crime and turn Trinidad back nice again. But it's very, very clear that from a traffic standpoint, the police on the road trying to get tickets. So first and foremost, take your time, be careful. Don't take no chances. Stay below the speed limit. Stay off your phone. Keep your mask off. On when it's supposed to be on. Do the right thing because they're on the hunt. As somebody said, Gary, like the police are quotas to give out tickets. All on the foreshore, you're getting charged for speeding wrong. The Savannah, they're coming out. So when I see NCW so frustrated, I mean, you could feel it in the frustration. I would have played it here, but go and follow the man on Instagram and check out the post where he's talking about. The man real frustrated, and what he's saying is true. He say when people working for $5,000 and $6,000 on them thing, when you charge a man $1,500, that's good money. The man say he doing one job, plus he's making little taxi work, plus he doing the comedian stuff. And he say for himself, he say, boy, I come out half day on a Saturday when he done his $100 and something the man make. And must he get a ticket for $1,000? All the tickets and them expensive. And I worried about not just the 1,000 in January in these hard times, but I worried about the demerit points too. I don't want to reach a place where I'm losing my license or how to fight. You know what I mean? My license gets suspended, that's rough. But at the same token, when I have my phone, I get charged $1,000. But somebody who flush a child head in a toilet, after 9 years, I have a month to pay my 1,000, you know. I have a month to pay my 1,000. If I don't pay my 1,000 in a month, it's warrant and it's a whole next scene and it's double the demerit points and double the money and all them kind of thing. But this woman gets 9 years. No, think about this, right? I sit down with my guy Nick Dean. Go back to Nick Dean. The conversation with Nick Dean is a financial advisor, and I'm doing Nick course now. I really appreciate the information that Nick is giving me. One of the things that Nick talks about in his course all the time is that inflation is double every 10 years or so. And I tell myself, boy, that is songing right. I say we know what inflation is, but 10 years it doubling. I say, nah, man. Inflation doubling every 10 years mean that the value of your dollar cutting in half every 10 years. I say, nah, man. Nick and them pulling thing out of the sky. Until I started studying myself good now, as a young adult, teenager, doubles used to be. What was the earliest price all you remember for doubles? Anybody who listening to this, if you're anywhere around my age, you would have known doubles as being $1, right? Now think about it. Doubles was $1 somewhere around the 90s, right? So let me say it was, for argument's sake, all around 1990, 1995, all the doubles is $1, right? That is 95 to 2005 years and 10, 50. So we 25 years down the road. How much for doubles now? When you go in Chicago, buy doubles, people like go buy $5, right? That's 250%. The thing lining up right with what Nick's saying. If he's saying every 10 years inflation doubling, every 10 years your dollar could buy half of what it used to buy. It's the same thing. After 25 years, it's 250% the price of doubles going up. That's my unscientific way of looking at this, right? So 10 years ago, you flush a child head down a toilet. Put the child head in a toilet and flush it. Use the principle of the school, you know? I sending you there, I entrusting you, and not just entrusting you, I'm paying the child to be there because of the education you, whatever you're selling or buying. And you so frustrated, you flush my child head. You paying $20,000 in 2021 is the equivalent of paying $10,000 back then. But we getting ticket for $1,000 when you do thing, $1,500 when you do thing. Like you're over the speed limit, or you're on your phone, or you drive on the bus route. And on these kind of things, compared to flushing a toilet, when you push a child head down in that toilet, it just goes to show you what it is. The parent who would be collecting that $20,000 is not even like a refund of your fees for the school, because if you're paying for the school based on that $4,000 figure, it's $60,000 you're spending over the lifetime of the child in that school if this child there for 5 years. And a magistrate find it fit to award them parents $20,000. They must want to throw back that $20,000 at that magistrate and the principal of that school. But what's even more interesting, and that's the funnier side of it, was how much people come out on Facebook and talk about this. It's like, it's real. I see my boy Imran Daniel was talking about his own experiences there. He said, boy, his craziness used to go on in that school. People start to post and everybody started talking about it. They say she used to want to sing and dance like you're on Broadway, and frightened to go up on stage and sing, and then she breaking down in tears. This woman, she not mentally stable. But having done that, the school right now still open and they have an early bird special. I'm going to do some Blackman advertising. God, Blackman's a little plug in some ads just in case you're interested in getting your child head flushed down the toilet and thing, and he's trying to no behavior. Blackman's saying fees per term are $4,000, but we're offering an early bird special of $3,600 only if paid in full by or on Sunday, January 10th. Oh God, we missed that. Jesus Christ, we had to pay the whole 4,000. No, if you have two children, it's 3,200 a piece. And this is great news. They also have a payment plan. An option known as PPO. This feature is designed to help parents and guardians manage their finances and school of. This is so kind of you. It's a 3-part payment, $1,400 each at the start of each month. Totaling 4,200. Wait now. Well, no, come on, Blackman. Blackman said they go take 1,400 a month if you can't pay the full 4,000 up front. But you know the 1,400 a month is 4,200 they take. So it's an extra 200 for the payment plan. Blackman is caught. It's heavy interest. Boy, how come the discussion not happening around closing down that school? Who know what? Who know who? What is happening? Why the discussion not happening where Blackman's had to close down? Why this is still an institution? It's clear that so many people have issues with this place. So many people experience problems. You get charged and convicted. You flush the children head down the toilet. You get made to pay through your teeth. I've grabbed whopping. Now listen, she going to get back that 20,000 in this early registration here alone. So who's sending the children in this institution still? And who's these people? And what is she somebody afraid Miss Blackman or something more? Why a school where these things happening still allowed to open? The care of the children is not the thing. We like to talk about children this and it's a children authority and we protecting children and all. Why is there still a school? Why is there a spot? Why they could charge people $1,400 a month, adding up to $4,200? Why they charging $200 for a payment plan? So in my effort and to keep Zachary home, really, no issue like that in San Fernando, boys. But let us start by closing Blackman's as a beacon and the signal for why we don't need schools and a physical building and we could do the thing online. And like I have a toilet home and I don't think I ever feel like flushing nobody head in it, much less a little child. So let me, you know what I mean? It's more argument to keep these children. Clearly, the principals and them frustrated. It's clear. So better we keep the children home, forget them and their $4,200 and let the ministry educate the children in the comfort of their home. And let we see how the online schooling could work out. Because I don't want the life-changing experience of pulling up and then my son's shirt wet and I had to hear a story like this. All right, now on the entertainment front, a few things happening. Let me talk about indoor entertainment before I talk about outdoor because Kes and them going to get the thing wild just now. But on the indoor front, I get hooked on a series here and it next level. If you know me, I listen to Joe Budden podcast religiously, right? And that man was talking about a series, Name Your Honor. The first one they catch me with is one with Morgan Freeman. I say Morgan Freeman. What's the man named? Hugh Grant. I don't know why Morgan Freeman come to my mind, but Hugh Grant and them, it was about a murder scene where a woman, I don't want to talk it out too much, but the show opened with the woman getting killed. Gruesome murder. And it was one of them shows where you had to try to figure out who was the murderer. And it was one of those mini-series, right? And I watching that and I'm trying to figure out if it's the devil who write that show. Because listen, when I tell you it's hooking you every episode, like you don't want to do nothing else till you watch the next one. The name of that one was Undoing. And it's something to watch, boy. I don't want to say too much about it. Like you had to watch that on your own. Like so Joe Budden and them was talking about that Undoing and make more watch that. So when they start talking about this next one, Name Your Honor, I started taking Your Honor too, but Your Honor, I don't know, boy. I know which one better. But Your Honor is Bryan Cranston, and I was a big fan of Breaking Bad. It's really through this podcast because I was asking about series and people was talking about Breaking Bad as being the best one and Better Call Saul as being up there with it too. Kind of continuation of that. And this Your Honor, it bad. Like maybe Ozark is the best series I watch in a while. Like this where if you watch Ozark, you know Marty Bird every week he in trouble. I can't wait for that to start back neither. He is the most worried man it have. I don't think there are a point in Ozark where that man smile or laugh at something. He always looking frustrated and worried. And if you know Bryan Cranston, you're seeing the Breaking Bad man in him a little bit while he doing this show. But boy, the way they set up the show, it's almost impossible, the things that happen in the show. But boy, this fella's slippery. So if you had time, taking Your Honor, and I open to recommendations because I'm looking for things to watch on Netflix. Your Honor and Undoing a watch on your Racket Box. Them things on Netflix. But going on to Kes. Kes gonna get it thing wild. Now Kes and them say Kes and them say they're doing a five night